In the 2016 election, West Virginia voted for Trump at the highest rate in the country, officially making it the reddest state in the U.S. So if you're anything like me, it might surprise you to learn that this hasn't always been the case. In fact, for most of the 20th century, West Virginia was one of the most reliably blue states. Only in the last 20 years has West Virginia's politics taken a sharp turn to the right. How did a historically blue state become one of the reddest? What does it reveal about the state of politics in the U.S., and what does it mean for West Virginians? In search of an answer, I traveled to West Virginia on what became a fascinating adventure. One of the first things I learned upon arriving in West Virginia was the robust history of left economic policies, such as FDR's New Deal. Programs, like the Civilian Conservation Corps, employed thousands of West Virginians during the Great Depression, building roads and parks throughout the mountainous state. The memory of FDR is still celebrated in the hearts and minds of many West Virginians, representing a progressive economic support of workers through the creation of good-paying jobs. Another driving factor in the politics of West Virginia is the vibrant labor history of the resource-rich state. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, there was a surge of resource companies opening operations across the state, with coal dominating the scene. The influx of mining led to the mass exploitation of workers, which ultimately culminated in the Coal Wars, a series of armed conflicts between unionizing mine workers and owners. The memory of these conflicts and the enduring unions pushed West Virginians to vote for Democrats, who historically supported labor unions over big business. Another thing that became abundantly clear while traveling through West Virginia was how overwhelmingly rural, white, and Christian it is. These demographics, of course, correlate with conservative political positions on social issues. So while the economic tendencies of West Virginia have been more left-leaning, the social ones have not. For the greater part of the 20th century, this manifested itself in a sort of West Virginia Democrat, a socially conservative, economically liberal candidate. As mentioned, coal was the backbone of West Virginia's economy. A local I talked to assured me that every man she knew had been a coal miner. While a resource-based economy can foster economic growth and create good-paying jobs at times, research found that the presence of coal in the Appalachian region has played a significant part in its slow pace of economic development. This hindrance to economic growth and prosperity has been dubbed the resource curse by many economists. In West Virginia, this curse became apparent in the 80s, when technological advances caused a drop in the number of coal and manufacturing jobs. Despite coal production being at an all-time high, many West Virginians found themselves not only out of work, but out of a career. Among those who still had jobs, union membership shrank, and wages fell. West Virginia was feeling the pain of their resource-based economy. But how does this relate to politics and the flip from Democrats to Republicans? Well, my theory is that by the time the 2000s rolled around, West Virginians were rightfully looking to their Democrat-led government for answers. How had they allowed things to get so bad, and why were they continuing this way? How had the party of FDR, once beloved for its treatment of workers, gone on to allow this neglect of their voters? It wouldn't be a stretch to say that the feeling that things couldn't get much worse than this had begun to take hold. Of course, it didn't help that Democrats had begun talking about climate change and replacing coal with renewable energy. From the perspective of West Virginians, this would only mean one thing: even fewer good-paying jobs. So starting with Bush in the 2000 election, West Virginians began to question their loyalty to Democrats. As the state continued to experience a lack of good-paying jobs and worsening poverty throughout the 2010s, there developed a strong sense that Democrats had left West Virginians, not the other way around. In my opinion, it shouldn't be a surprise that come 2016, when there's one candidate who says,
"We're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business,"
and another who tells a mostly true story about the decline of good-paying jobs in the Rust Belt, of course sprinkling in some racism and xenophobia, he scores the highest victory in any state. So to answer the question, how did a historically blue state become one of the reddest? Well, it's complicated, but the largest factor was the decline in good-paying jobs, which began in the 80s and continues to this day, mainly attributable to advances in technology and coal manufacturing that caused many West Virginians to rightfully feel abandoned by the Democratic Party. It was not the success of the Republicans, but the failures of the Democrats to address the inherent challenge of maintaining good-paying jobs in a resource-based economy that caused West Virginia to flip from blue to red. So what can we learn from this? For one, I think the story of West Virginia is an important reminder about the danger of not providing good-paying jobs. Historically in West Virginia, those jobs came from coal, but there's no reason that has to be the case going forward. When I asked another local if people even like working in the mines, he said, not really, but it pays better than anything else. Only place around here where you can make $30 an hour. There's also the problem of the decaying industry itself. One of the most insane places I explored was an abandoned coal mine in one of the poorest regions of the state. Not only did I notice numerous combustion hazards, but I discovered this pond of toxic coal waste that was draining into the river which fed the nearby town. It's important to remember that as we create a more sustainable future, preventing emissions is only half the battle. The scars of our effort to grow this country into what it is will quite literally continue to bleed into the rivers and streams of America unless we make the necessary effort to reverse the ecological destruction that occurred. For me, the most troubling part of this story is seeing how so many West Virginians have understandably, but mistakenly, voted for politicians that will only cause further cuts to the social safety net, lower wages, strip workplace protections, and further privatize essential goods and services in a place where these protections are needed more than any. West Virginia is a beautiful state with beautiful people, and I'm grateful for the time I spent there. As bad as things seem, there's always hope for the future. Apparently, tourism is picking up, so hey, maybe consider West Virginia for your next vacation. Thanks for watching.